Hello, everybody, and welcome to OpenExO Live. It's 2023. Happy New Year to all of you. This is the first OpenExO Live of the year, and we are really excited to have Fabrizio with us this week, who's calling in from Germany. And you can see the first few people there for the year. We do still have some open slots. So if you are interested in being in on OpenExO Live, you can contact us, let me know, apply in the marketplace, and we can get you on to share your EXO journey, your story, what you're doing out in the world. And before we get Fabrizio up on screen, I do have a few words from some community members. The first one comes from Anna, and she just said, "Welcome to the magical world of Fabrizio, where challenges meet competence. He's an innovative thinker, creative, avant-garde, cutting-edge creator, integrous, trustworthy, kind, generous, collaborative, and fun to work with. Keep inventing new ways with passion and purpose, Fabrizio. Looking forward to partnering on new projects and a long-lasting friendship." We then have from Michael, "What a fascinating personality, Italian and German traits combined. I got to know him as part of the development efforts for the EXO onboarding game. He is an expert developer implementer, and me as part of the complain and suggest group. It was impressive to see how fast he was reacting and getting things done, and great to see at the same time how he always said yes to proposals from our side while still showing his real opinion. It was a pleasure to work, collaborate, and innovate with him so far, and I can wholeheartedly recommend Fabrizio as a fun and collaborative duo." We then also have from Daya, "Fabrizio is a passionate gamer, native to the virtual world and future tech, a true explorer and early adopter of promising new innovations. He is a wonderful human being and so much fun to work with. He's full of ideas, always looking for ways to improve things. A lovely Sicilian guy on the edge of future tech." Then from Stefano, "I have known Fabrizio for some time now and have had the opportunity to team up with him on several occasions. He has turned out to be a rare find. He's an optimistic realist and a professional with extensive experience. His passion for experimentation and his strong data-driven approach make him a natural innovator. His superpower is the ability to turn complexity into simplicity. Everyone would want him on their team." And then lastly, from Nikki, "It is an honor to work with Fabrizio, who brilliantly combines his curious mind, technical prowess, and people skills to create meaningful connections with game players and stakeholders. He is adept at the Octalysis framework on what motivates players and is a skilled business consultant with a deep understanding of how to strategically track and pivot projects for growth and engagement. He is a keeper for any exponential team." And so with that, I want to welcome Fabrizio. Fabrizio, welcome. How are you doing this evening?
Thank you, Kevin. And now I'm pretty embarrassed by the different presentation. So they put the bar pretty high, and so we will try to say at least don't get loud.
No, absolutely.
It's very great. I'm very honored to be here with you. It's a very big pleasure to at least tell the story about my relationship with OpenExO and what we did in the last 6 very intense months, by the way. So
no, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's so great to have folks around watching. So thanks for the comment there, Michael. And Deborah's just asking, Nikki shared your TED Talk, and Deborah was there also. So welcome, everybody. If you do have any questions that you want to ask, please do share those as we have this conversation. And so, Fabrizio, I always start out by just asking the question, tell us about yourself, a little bit about yourself. we've heard from some of the comments in Italian, living in Germany. Tell us a bit about your background and also how you came to join the OpenExO community.
Yes. So my background, honestly, my background is pretty heterogeneous, or I should probably say schizophrenic, to be honest, because I graduated in biology with a good background in genetics. Probably a lot of people forgot it. But I spent during the graduation a lot of years in experimentation in laboratories. So real, let's say, experimentation training and other kind of stuff. But at the same time, my, let's say, hobby was kind of programming. I'm trying to find a very elegant way of saying. So basically, to support my study, I prefer instead going to work in bars or other kind of stuff. I, let's say, create copy of the most important software and sell it to my teachers. And it worked pretty good. I mean, I had a very interesting income, not pretty legal, but at least interesting. I learned a lot about programming. And at the same time, I started the research environment in Italy, and it didn't work. It didn't fascinate me so much. There were not enough money, and when you start researching on something, there always be the company or the corporate that controls your outcomes. So I decided, okay, I will follow my hobby. I took my master in human-machine interaction, create my first software in 2000 and sell it. And then I stopped developing. I say, okay, developing is not for me. I was not a very good developer. At least I have a good idea, not a good developer, honestly talking. But, I've always been fascinated by human-machine interaction, especially voice at the beginning. I spent a lot of years in World Wide Web Consortium in 2 groups, designing the technology, the framework, and other kind of stuff. So I got even my first startup around voice for 7 years, then I sell it. I had a pretty good satisfaction. Like I sold my competencies to Microsoft. That was pretty good as a goal, especially teaching them how to use their own software. So it was pretty interesting, yes. And a lot of people commented, yes, could happen with Microsoft, but it was for me, it was a good goal, honestly talking. And what happened after 7 years, I got bored again about human-machine, the voice, interaction. I decided, okay, there's to be more. So I decided to find a second startup around digitalized human being. I moved to US to explore this opportunity, and I was very lucky to get in contact with amazing people, amazing advisor, mentors, another group, and we are still collaborating. Now I'm serving as advisor in, for example, in investor group in US, and in another company called International Space Medicine Consortium, where we push this human-machine interaction to the next stage, especially the behavioral analysis. What I did in the meantime, I had a lot of fun into jumping from country to country, leading congresses. It was very nice, and also the opportunity to networking with extraordinary minds. That was the best part. I think when you travel a lot, when you meet a lot of people, they contaminate your ideas and they get stronger. And this is what I learned, let's say. So what happened later, come back to Italy for a couple of years, then we decided to move to Frankfurt to support a startup. And in the meantime, I became one of the Singularity University Ambassador here in Germany. And at the same time, I heard about Salim, obviously, I heard about the book, and then I start my path into the OpenExO community, starting with the first, with the foundation, with the consultant. But honestly talking, at the beginning, I was pretty, excited about the methodology, but I didn't understand exactly how to apply all this kind of stuff. So it took me a couple of years. I finished my, let's say, the first ITER of certification with coach and training this year. And finally, in the last couple of years, I understood exactly how to, embed all this information, all this, new evolutional framework into my current life as a consultant advisor. This is a short story about my life.
Okay, and so I mean that's absolutely fascinating. Having been in, and run, startups, and then understanding the EXO framework, would you actually say that a lot of the concepts around EXO perhaps you actually were implementing, or was there quite a lot of new things that you were like, oh man, just imagine if we'd had these when we ran the startups?
Unfortunately, the second one. So I would like to, honestly talking, I would love to know all this kind like 10 years before, but obviously they were not available. And because they for sure solve a lot of problems. I apply them today on daily basis on the startup. I coaching or advise them. I say, hey, this is the perfect framework for you. This is the perfect attribute you should use every day. But on my experience, I didn't, because it was too early and I didn't have that knowledge. So 100% by fault, let's say, and time and the time framework.
No, absolutely. Now, one thing which a few of the people who shared spoke about was gamification, and you've been working with some of the community members and core team members around building out an onboarding game. And so beforehand we were chatting about the EXO attributes and the importance of community and crowd and engaging your community and how gamification can play a real big part in that. So why would you say that gamification is actually something that's really important for new organizations or any organization to actually understand, and how that links to EXO?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So first of all, let's start from the basis. When we talk about gamification, it's a very wide concept, sometimes being misinterpreted. So there's a lot of even definition online. My preferred one is very easy. It says basically it's a kind of application of typical game elements and principle in contexts where they are not typically applied, as for example, the business. And I'm sure you know that the term started in 2002. I think the guy was called Nick Perling. It was a British programmer that tried to explain things to their colleague in a different way. As a developer, you have a lot of limits when you're trying to explain your idea. So he decided to use this gamification thing. And in the meantime, there are now published more than 20 different frameworks, 200 different techniques. So things are getting serious, even if we talk about gamification, and getting more complex. On the other side, we know that the theory behind it is very easy. So your idea is you will like to somehow, through positive reinforcement, hints, aids, or even the so-called black action, incentivize new behaviors. And these new behaviors are for the company. You will like to enact this kind of, let's say, dynamic. Individual, by helping people to perform action that either they are not or are a bit most reluctant. The typical example is, for example, running. There's a lot of auto gamification in running environment, but also in learning and other kind of stuff. Or community, by helping people to engage in behavior that benefit society at large and the planet. So ideally, we can combine all these three interests in something called triple bottom line, people, planet, profit. And when you think of people, planet, profit as exactly in the middle of some frameworks, at the example I remember, Michael, that is now online, showed me the pyramid, the purpose launch was generated. And in the middle, you will see exactly people, planet, profit. And the good part of this gamification is the ability to rely on a community or on a crowd in different ways. And when we will start go deeper into this topic, I would like to show you exactly what I mean with community, crowd, and also staff on demand for gamification. The reason why I think it's very important is because, especially in let's say EXO-oriented communities or EXO-oriented company, we always talk about the MTP, the purpose, and what we are now trying to achieve is exactly behavioral shifting. So we try to inspire people to adopt new behavior. In the TEDx, it's called desire reductions, through different techniques that are called gamification. So the engagement that this kind of, let's say, approach to engage them as a behavioral level, as psychological level, to give them instant reward or sometimes to punish them, to, let's say, reach this high level goal we designed for the community.
No, absolutely. Now, as you've said, I mean, in developing, and working with the team on the game, it has been done in I would say in a very sort of EXO type of way, right? In that there's been a tremendous amount of community engagement and leveraging staff on demand, and so how would you say that element has been actually being able to interact with different community members sort of from all over the world, and I mean it's been a lot of work as you've shared, but can you share a little bit about those elements?
Sure. If you agree, I would like to share with you a small presentation. Just give me a second. I will launch it so we can follow exactly what happened. And also, okay, let's voila, and share now.
Okay.
You should have now. Okay, fantastic. So what happened? First of all, I was the funny part is that you talk about community engagement, and the reason why I landed into this project is because I just replied to a post that Nikki does into the opportunity area in the marketplace. So as a community member, let's say I never had the opportunity to work on with this person on this project. So I saw the announcement, says, oh, I can help, I can give you some hints. So I prepare a small document, 20 pages or something like that. Sorry, Nikki. And then we start having interaction. We say, okay, we can use your help, your skills, and see what will happen. And what we did, and I have to confess, without any I can say discrete plan. So we didn't decide to do that at the beginning, but we share the same dictionary. So the EXO attribute for us now are a kind of dictionary. So we decided to proceed with this attribute application without saying, hey, we would like to apply this attribute. It was very clear from the beginning that the idea was, hey, we can find different area where the two things can be combined, both gamification on one side, gamification techniques, and the EXO attributes. And this is what we did. I will go very fast because I don't want to bother other people, but later I will be very happy to go through in details if you want or reply to questions. So the first attribute, as you said, is the community and crowd attribute. You know the slide very well because it's coming from one of the typical slides OpenExO uses, and we don't want to change it. But what we did is we structure a core team, but basically the job was, as you can see, evaluate feedback and data, decide what to put into developer and when, and through these mechanisms, the development team, the core team, at the end was the one who were least. Because honestly, we had a lot of working background, but through the different areas, circles we will see in a second, you will see that the job were very well distributed on the different area. And then we have our first advisor network that could help us a lot on the design, production, and delivery. So, for example, the creation of the gamification mechanisms we would like to introduce was made by the advisors. And the same, the development of features and tools, again, was part of the advisor work. Okay, and the next step, again, for the advisor area was on ideation, validation, and test. So we had the opportunity to quick ideate and suggest new mechanism and feature, validate them internally with, we will see in a second, even staff on demand advisor, and then decide what we would like to keep or not. And also, the good part for us is that the advisory team, now we call mentor team, work as a support for the whole community that would like to play the game. And then we have the players. The players for us was like fantastic. They can give us a lot of feedback, suggestion, and also we use them for testing. So the idea is, experimentation at the top, releasing very fast, get feedback, and decide what you would like to keep or not keep, and see the level of engagement. Because at the end of the day, this was the primary objective for us, was to measure the engagement.
Yeah.
And then staff on demand through the marketplace. We hired marketing teams, community engagement, and also developer and experts on demand. So another circle of, let's say, feedback, skills, expertise that we'll bring into the game. And then obviously we had our crowd, two different crowds. We have the community members, the OpenExO community members that work in idea and validation. Also, we create a mini game inside the game to allow them to discover the game step by step, instead of the first wow effect and then get lost completely. And also we have the outside community, outside OpenExO, and our goal is to use the game to attract them into the OpenExO network.
Yeah.
And as I said before, the main goal for us as an age initiative was to rapid prototyping as much as we can. And I'm sure anyone knows how rapid prototyping works, but basically for us means, hey, we would like to test an idea, we would like to test a dynamics, we would like to test a behavior. So let's find what game techniques we would like to apply, review with the team of the advisor, as we see before, put online in 1 week, and then deliver immediately and get the feedback. And this is why this is one of the screen I prefer. It shows that basically every week we release different features. It was a goal. It is, because it's still going on, a continuous delivering of feature, measuring, learning, and let's see the next step, next season, as we say. And also we collect feedback in forms of different survey for every kind of challenges and so on. And obviously my approach is based on data. I have to confess I'm very, let's say, data-driven person. So we create obviously a lot of dashboard to measure the behavioral and also the behavioral changes, where one of them is, for example, we would like to check how many people will connect, how many people will evolve through the game. As you can see in this graph, we track how people move through the different levels. And also another important stuff, as I said before, was the engagement. These slides are not very updated, because now we have more than 4,000 lines. And also we gave away more than 33 exos. So things are moving. And just a couple of, probably 1 hour ago, we discussed what happened during the holidays. We see the engagement was pretty high because people would like to play the raffle, win the prizes. And on the other side, we see they don't like challenges during the holiday. It's pretty normal. But we kept the engagement very, very high. So let's say we are learning a lot. It's for me especially, it's a great opportunity to work with an amazing team, learn a lot, because we have different competencies, different way of applying our knowledge. So it's a very stimulating job and game. And obviously we are talking about engagement. As I say, it's our primary goal. So another attribute, this is probably the most natural one when we talk about gamification. And everything started, you mentioned before, with a UKI framework, the octalysis. And so we try to connect the desired action, so the behavioral model, with the matrix you saw a second ago. And we started with designing all the steps in the battle plan. I'm sure you heard about it, you know them very well, for the persona, the different steps in onboarding, exploring, and so on. And also we add our detailed battle plan with the different challenges, different levels, and also, as you can see, are more than 28 game techniques we would like to insert into the game.
Wow.
And our evolutionary, obviously, that's the leveling up for the players.
No, absolutely. I mean, so much detail, right? That goes into it, but it really can be so exciting, when you were doing that, right? And it just shows how well connected, gamification is to EXO. I mean, it's a massive part of engagement, but also how the different EXO attributes there actually, link as well, right? Michael did ask a question as you were presenting, but just asking, well, what are the 3 most important EXO attributes you think? And then he came back to say, I think you've actually answered it by what you've shared right now. And so, I mean, beforehand we said that perhaps MTP and community and engagement are really important. I don't know if there's anything else you want to say about that or share about that. Around what is most important. If I guess, as a question coming to an end, I want to keep speaking to you, but I am looking at the time, and we are going to go a little over, but that's fine. If you were starting a startup again, or if you were asked to transform an organization, what attributes would you actually start with?
So I have to confess a little bias. I mean, my little bias is that I not consider MTP an attribute, because without an MTP, you can't apply the other attribute for me. So for me, it's like, hey, that's the basis. If you don't have it, okay, we have a problem and we need to solve it. I know that there's let's say a chapter in the UCAN book that says, hey, you can create an epic meaning without having an epic meaning. I understand the business proposal behind it, but honestly talking, if you think about a company, it can't be. So if you start from the basis, you need to start from the basis. So you need to create your MTP at the beginning, and then around that, it will be very easy to start developing the community and crowd, because they will like to follow, engage in your MTP, and obviously engaging will come naturally once you will have a very strong MTP. Because basically what we are serving today is that if you have a very strong purpose, at the end, the crowd will come and will organize around your MTP to create a community. I know it's not so easy, but at the end, it's making it very easier compared to not having one. And so you have to chase the community or the crowd members.
Yeah, no, absolutely, 100%. And so as I said, I'd like to continue speaking to you, and maybe we need to have a follow-on, because we need to call it a day on this OpenExO Live. And I always ask that, as a last question, to say, if there is only one thing that you want people who are watching this to take away, what is that one thing?
Oh, wow. So the one thing for me is, as I say, don't stop learning. Rapid prototyping doesn't mean release faster. It means release openly. And this is what I learned. And I have to thank Nikki and all the team, but Nikki especially, because let's say she naturally put you into the mood of learning. So she's very open. She, without any pressure, she teach you how to get to listen to other people, to take feedback and to use this feedback. So the takeaway for me is, don't stop experimenting and don't stop learning.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more. Fabrizio, I hope you have a fantastic evening. I hope we get to chat again sometime soon. But thank you very much for joining us on OpenExO Live.
Oh, thank you a lot for the invitation. I really appreciate it. It was an honor, and it was so fast.
I know.
Didn't realize it's already gone.
Insane. Thank you, Fabrizio. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So great chatting to Fabrizio on this first OpenExO Live of 2023. Welcome, everybody. It's going to be a fantastic year. Do go check out the platform. We've had a few updates, a few changes. There's a lot more coming in 2023. So with that, I want to say thanks for joining us and see you again next week.